Hello and welcome to Interstellar Rift. This is a game I recently picked up, and I must admit I have cheated slightly. I have actually played this game a little bit just to try and get myself acclimated with it before I bring you content on it. And I must admit also I'm not sure what to make of this game yet. Let me give you a brief introduction to what I think Interstellar Rift is about, bearing in mind that I have only about 8 hours gameplay in this thing, and that's not a lot. Basically, in these sorts of games, you'll be looking at maybe dozens of hours before I guess you really actually get a grasp on what this game is all about. But I'm going to jump into a new solo game here just to show you. I want to say it's like Empyrean, but it's not. It's nothing like Empyrean, other than the fact that it has space in it. I wouldn't even classify this as a survival game at the moment. I'm going to go with... yeah, okay, so you start a new game and you get these factions, basically. Mining and resource selling is what the Hurls Co is about. Cargo hauling and trading. Combat and salvaging. And Drifters apparently is about mining as well. I'm not so sure about that. I think they're more like pirates and stuff. And S3 is the Sentinel security systems. Okay, well, I don't know. I'm going to go with Hurls Co because that's what I've gone with before, so I know what to expect. And there's not going to be any nasty surprises for me in the middle of this episode. So let's go with Hurls Co, but obviously you can pick whatever faction you want depending on your playstyle, presumably. Some are harder starts than others. I think Hurls Co is a beginner's one. There's no sort of emphasis on PvP with Hurls Co. It's very much a PvE kind of gameplay. And here we are. This is Interstellar Rift. This is what it looks like. I'm really struggling to define this game, I must admit, at the moment. It's very in depth. From what I've found so far, I've barely scratched the surface of this game. So there seems to be a good sort of galactic trade system going on. There's factions, banks, loans, and this faction here apparently I'm friendly with because, well, I am the faction sort of thing. This is a space station, as you probably already guessed. In the Hurls Co faction, this seems to just be the starting location for this faction. It's called the HSC Industrial Complex, and this is the bulletin board. So I guess there are missions and stuff. You can take up missions and they'll give you rewards and things like. What I do like about this actually is these screens are interactive, like with the mouse, which But then that's a bit weird. I don't understand why the actual game menu is within those menus. That's a bit immersion breaking. But trying to explain everything that's in here straight away doesn't really help. So let me give you a quick tour of this station. And you'll notice that everything seems fairly kind of sharp, good looking, crisp, I would describe it, I suppose. The walls, the graphics, everything here, but it is another block building game, I guess, because this is the ship construction terminal, and I can do stuff in here. Like I can build a new ship. So I've got some ships here, or I could just can I build a new one? Design. Let's do that. Here we go. Yeah, I don't want to build a ship. I want to design stuff. This is the ship builder, designer. Sorry. Prepare to spend a lot of your time in this. I've done some stuff in here, and I've got very infuriated with it. I guess because ultimately, I don't know. Maybe I've been spoiled by Empyrean and its creative tools and things like that, and I stumbled into this game going, "Yeah, go on. This will be easy. I've got all the years of Empyrean under my belt. I know what I'm doing." Take everything that you've learned about shipbuilding in Empyrean and Space Engineers or whatever game and just bin it. Just forget it. okay? Because this is nothing like that. Obviously, this game is in very early alpha still. It is still very much a work in progress. But this chip designer thing is crazy. That's how I would describe it. Normally, when I start a ship in Imperion, I'd usually start with the exterior frame, outline the basic shape, and then fill the interior out from there. Nah, complete opposite. Complete opposite in this one. Where do I start? Basically, this designer it works on a room system. Okay, so you build your ship room by room. So forget the exterior completely. Okay, you're looking almost exclusively for functionality. My advice is, if you're building your first ship, to start with the biggest items that are going to go in the ship first, okay? Because they cut into or they dictate the size of the hull in cases. So on the left, down the bottom left here, I've got all these various options. So interior edit mode is what I'm in at the moment, and then you've got prop edit mode for most of the stuff. Exterior edit mode will come to later. Power group edit mode. I don't even want to. I just power. Let's stick with that. So why am I doing this? Oh god, right. There's a number of checkpoints that your ship has to meet. So it has to have a teleporter, otherwise you can't get onto it. It's got to have a life support, otherwise you'll die. And you got to ventilate every room so that air flows around the ship. That's the very basics, obviously, and you get things like that. Go away, shoot. That's the basic requirements of a ship. You got this checklist, 3 things. But obviously, it's got to have engines as well, and you want to go places with it. So you probably want to fill it up with a little bit more than that. So I'm on the interior edit mode, and yet under systems, I have stuff that looks like props. So why do we have more stuff under props? I don't know, but we do. So make sure that you check both the interior edit mode props, because that's where your life support is. That's where your power generators are, and some interior engines and disposal units and turrets and stuff. Turrets, yeah, because you've got weapons on your exterior mode, but you've got turrets on your interior. Yeah, okay, we'll just breeze over that. That's fine. And then on your prop edit mode, we've got other systems like your teleporters and your big refineries, which are 3 high and stuff like that. So I'm going to place a few big items like these refineries and extractors, because I work for Hulls Co, so I'm going to want some mining stuff on my ship in order to go and mine. Logically, that makes sense, right? So let me stick an extractor here. Now, an extractor is what I would use to pluck asteroids out of space, and then these extractors essentially mine the minerals out of that asteroid and put them in a nice convenient box for you in order to ready to be refined. I'll show you it later once I've just shown you a bit of the ship builder here. Once it's extracting those resources, you're going to want to refine them. So I'm going to put a couple of refineries in here as well, and that's probably going to drain a lot of power. I don't know at this point. I'm just messing around. So I have my extractors and refiners, and basically it's a game of moving boxes around. So I want to have some cargo space between those two, in order to stash all of the minerals that these guys extract. So I'm going to put some cargo pads down. Okay, but let me just quickly switch to the exterior mode, and you'll see what I mean about it pushes up the room height. Okay, so bear that in mind. That's why I'm saying you want to put the biggest things in first, because You don't want to design a ship, multi-floor ship, and then, you know, halfway through come to the mining room and then plonk one of these in and it completely wrecks the floor above. So put the big stuff in first, let it mess around with the size of things. You can then work around that, basically. So that's one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give you for the shipbuilding section. The other big piece of advice as well I can give you is when you're trying to place things like a cockpit, for example. Although I might just put this off center just to be, you know. Anyway, that will not place if it's got a block to the left of it or a block to the right of it. So let me take it off and I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to put a block there and a block there, and I'm going to select this and I'm going to try and it won't tell me that something's wrong. It just simply will not place it. Okay. It took me hours to figure out why it wasn't placing things, and that's just not just cockpits either. That's windows and stuff like that. So yeah, like I said, it is an early alpha game. It has problems. It has quirks. It has many of those quirks. So I'm just trying to bring you this information so that if you want to check this game out, hopefully you'll get a little less frustrated with it than I did when first trying to check these things out. So, but in the ship designer, you can absolutely go to town with different things, windows, and such. Oh, hello. You know, all sorts of different things. Even the walls, I can change the deco on the walls to be different as well. And it's not like having a paint gun in Empyrean. Every sort of texture, I suppose you can call it, has, you know, a tile down here in its relevant section. But yeah, you can imagine the sort of level of detail that you can go with this is pretty good. And that's before we even get into props. We put in some pillars that offer some light. Oh, I keep selecting the same one. There we go, that's the one I wanted. And you use the arrow keys on the keyboard to rotate things, by the way. But yeah, I mean, that's the main sort of frustrations I had with the build. That and the camera itself. So in order to rotate, I'm holding the middle mouse button down and then it's zooming in and out. But I can't really, I mean, you can WASD it and stuff. Yeah, you can WASD it to get around a bit, but the camera angles did annoy me a fair amount. But again, it's one of those things you get used to. The other thing as well, before I move on from this, there's no elevators, although I'm not sure what that is. That's a cargo lift. There's no elevators in the game, it's all stairs. So you've got various stairs to choose from. When you place stairs from one room to the next one up, you can see it in exterior edit mode. Again, it modifies the exterior of the ship. So bear that in mind when you're trying to create your layout. When you want to edit a room up in your interior, it's either these ones down here, which you level up, level down. There you go. Or page up, page down on your keyboard. So page up, and then you can create a new room here and start building that room. And you can just put a door and it joins those two together. But yeah, there's lots of very large things in this game. Can I? No, not gonna let me do that one. Maybe select that and show you guys what that is. No, okay. One of those things, I guess. One of those alpha things that we're not ready to. Oh, there it is. There it is. There we go. So I had to move it over a room. My fault. That's the strip miner. That's freaking enormous, and you'd probably build an entire ship around that. That's a large drone bay. There you go. If you wanted to build a carrier and have lots of drones coming out of it. So there is a lot of depth that I haven't explored yet, that I am keen to explore and would like to. Once I sort of get over my own initial rage issues with actually trying to figure this game out, it is not easy. Well, I haven't found it easy. You can certainly leave in the comments if you feel compelled to do so. If you found it easy and go nah, that's fine. You can do that. I will probably just block you. Do go into the ship designer and explore all the various things though, because there's a lot of things in here. Gravitational anchor, a device that keeps stations and ships anchored in space. Okay. What the hell would you use that for? Unless you're building a space station, of course. Nuclear reactors. The thing is, a lot of these other components, they come with their own consequences, I would say. Rift generators and stuff like that. All of it takes energy. And energy and energy and energy. And there's two ways I know of at the moment to power a ship. One is hydrogen generators. Are they in here? Yeah, hydrogen generators. And you got Tech 2 hydrogen generator. And a nuclear reactor. And the nuclear reactor, that one, how big are you? It's fairly big, it's not too bad actually. But they take different types of fuel. The hydrogen generators obviously take hydrogen. The nuclear ones, I don't know, I haven't got that far yet. But yeah, they do different things. Anyway, can I come out of this ship editor, please? Yes, good, excellent, right. So, what I wanted to show you as well is basically the first thing you're probably going to be doing is mining resources. Well, certainly if you're in the Hurls Co. For the other factions, I don't know. I haven't actually bothered to start with the other factions yet or not. For Hurls Co., certainly the doors aren't automatic. You'll be very familiar with this room within the first few hours of gameplay. So these are these extractor things that you place. You can get an idea of the scale of things now. The extractor thing is one of the smaller items that I placed, and over here is those refineries things. You can see how it's 3 blocks high in this particular room. So this is if you think about the ship designer and then you look at rooms like this and you kind of realize how they're built. So this, what I'm stood on, is layer 1, and then you've got another 2 layers above, and they've created walkways all the way around and such. And obviously you put your refineries and cargo bays, cargo transporters and such in here. So you can use existing stuff to try and figure out how to use that ship designer, is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, this extractor is all very fun and good. So if you come up to extractor, almost everything has got one of these little console things on there. You can click on an asteroid that the sensors have picked up, move over to the second screen and mine that asteroid, and there you go, it pops in there and slowly reduces in size. And the resources that are extracted from that asteroid will appear on this pad here soon. There you go. Oh, look at that. Thank you very much. It's giving me some carbon, which is lovely. And you can keep an eye on actually what it's extracting here. It's just finished the copper and is now working on the iron. So I can just pick them up. They go into my inventory. Thank you very much. Probably 2 more boxes out there, but once they're in my inventory, of course, I can take them over to the refinery over here. Pop them in there. I'm not going to pop the carbon in there just yet, but I'm going to start with the iron and click process. So everything that's in the inventory of the refinery is here. Everything that it can create, refine, is over here, so you can select which one I want to refine, and it will default at the maximum amount, hit process, and off it goes. And fairly quickly we'll start seeing boxes come out of that little hatch there. Let me just quickly grab these 2. There we go. So that's produced iron ingots for me, as represented by this little icon here. So if I put these iron ingots in here now along with this carbon, okay, we can see we've got iron ore, copper ore, iron ingots that I've just created, and some carbon. And it's now giving me a third option, steel. So basically different ingredients can lead to different results. So carbon and iron ingots create steel. There you go. And the game is full of various different recipes like that. That is probably the most simple one, the first one that you're going to come across. But you can combine all sorts of things later on in the game to produce what you need to produce, like chips and things like that. So combine silicon with stuff and it produces these chips and whatnot, which is, you know, fun, I guess. But yeah, there's a depth to this game that I am very unfamiliar with at the moment, so I'm just trying to give you my initial impressions. With that, yeah, I spent the first 8 hours of this game, I suppose, in this room, mining resources in order to produce a ship. And I'm just going to pop back up to the old ship designer thingy-majiggy. And if I build, what was it, the HSC excavator, I think? Basically, in order to build something, you need to have enough resources in your vault. As you can see, I have 0 available of everything, but I require the red numbers there, essentially. So, in this particular instance, I'm not going to build a ship. Hop over to this guy here, in the Storatron. Hello. And I'm going to purchase a ship. And I'm going to purchase that thing because it's the only one that I can purchase. And that's great. I have some stuff in my vault because you always start with some stuff. Specifically, I have oxygen and hydrogen. I'm going to take all of that because I'm going to need that. And I'm going to jump onto this here transporter thing, which is the red thing in the middle of the room. Select my ship that I just purchased, which is now out there somewhere waiting for me. Hit the teleport. Yes, please. Quickly stand on this ramp thing before it. Oh god. Oh hey. Hello. Hey. Hey. How's it going? And here we are. I am now aboard my vessel. And I need to put some oxygen in before I start suffocating. Fuel storage and life support. There we go. That's a good start. I'm going to put. This is the life support machine, which you'll learn very quickly when you start trying to build a ship. I'm going to put my oxygen in there, and that is now going to feed into the rest of the ship. Some oxygen. I'm not going to suffocate. This is my hydrogen storage pod. So I'm going to select my hydrogen and just chuck all of that in there. Wonderful. There we go. So my ship is now fueled and has oxygen. It has a mining bay with a single extractor. No refinery. It's not big enough ship to have a refinery, but it's got a reasonable amount of cargo storage in here as well. For a ship that's, you know, very much a starter ship. I can put some stuff on the cargo pods rather than have it in my inventory. And I think this is one of the things I have with this game is that you never really go outside. In fact, you never go outside. I don't think. You're always in something like this. You're always in a corridor in a room, and it works on these teleporters. And I find the whole thing a little bit claustrophobic. I think, to be honest, I think that's one of the things about Empyrean that is so great. Although, yes, in Interstellar Rift, I can be flying this ship. Somebody else, my friend, can be back here manning this console. Another one can be downstairs mining, all while the ship's moving. We could all be walking around. That's wonderful, and something I wish Empyrean did. But at the same time, I'm so glad I can go through an airlock in Empyrean and go for a little fly with my jetpack outside. Little things. I do feel a bit trapped in this game, if I'm honest. I don't know if they've got any plans to, you know, have spacewalking a thing, but it doesn't anymore. At the moment, you can't. I'm just trying to get away. There we go. So this is my little starter ship. There we go. It's alright, can't argue with that. Visually as well, certainly in space and stuff. It's okay. I mean, you know, graphics aren't everything, obviously. So I'm going to go with it's okay. It does the job. It does what you need it to. This thing actually maneuvers really well. Look at this. Wow. You can take damage from crashing and stuff, so fly careful, folks. But I suppose one of the other big differences between this and Empyrean as well is the travel mechanics. This is a bit more like Eve, I guess. Well, apart from it doesn't have gates. Well, that does it. I don't know. Rifts. It has rifts and stuff which you have to use. But you've got a warp drive which is good for local travel. And you've got a rift generator drive. This ship doesn't have one because it's a starter ship. You have a rift drive which is interstellar travel. So that's why it's called Interstellar Rift, I presume. But yeah. I mean, that's pretty much the basics, to be honest. I mean, yeah, you're going to have to figure out a lot for yourself because it's actually quite hard to just describe like what to do and where to go. I don't know. In Hurl's Co, I guess I head towards asteroid belts and mine stuff, and do some missions and buy a bigger ship. I don't know what the end game is for Hurl's Co. I haven't got that far into it, but yeah, I'm sure it will reveal itself to us in time. But for now, that is Interstellar Rift, an introduction to. I would very much, if you wanted to pick up this game and give it a go, I would very much advise just spending a bit of time in the starting base and the ship designer and just figuring out how it all works before venturing out into space. Because one thing I haven't experienced yet is combat on any meaning level. There are AI combat ships out there, so bear that in mind. You certainly don't want to be out getting ambushed by an AI combat ship. You don't have any ammo in the ship and you have no idea what you're doing, so but you know, failure is the best teacher, I guess, something like that. Anyway, Interstellar Rift, it's actually very reasonably priced, so you know, I think the current price, I say give it a go. Throw caution to the wind. Why not? It's cheap. It's early access. It's very early alpha. You never know. Could be great. And I do apologise for the spooky sounding flute music in the background, but that is the wife is playing the flute at the moment. Nothing I can do about that. Really. Just enjoy. Anyway, that is all for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.